What is happening, y'all? What's going on? Welcome back to LilBigMan Gaming, bringing you another review, as the title says, for Raw. Pretty decent show. It's a pretty decent show. But we're gonna get into it. Let me grab my notes here, so we could talk about it. Anyway, the show starts off with, I want to say, Nikki. Is it Nikki Ash or Nikki ASH? Like, I don't know. It's like, because you had the announcers calling her Nikki ASH, and then you got people like Sorry who called her Nikki Ash, but it's a it's a weird thing right there. But yeah. So Nikki comes out, she does a promo. I think this is her first promo since becoming Raw Women's Champion. Last week she cashed it in on Charlotte, and yeah, so she cashed in, came champion. So that's pretty much what she starts off with. You know how happy is. You know she says she always wanted to say is welcome to Monday Night Raw. She's happy to be Raw Women's Champion. She talks about her confidence. She got a new self of confidence now. She, being now that she's the champion, she got this new confidence about her, and that she's not afraid to fail. Because she was saying her problem before was that she was afraid to fail, but now she's not afraid to fail because she knows anything is possible, and you can always make that epic comeback. So, Charlotte Flair would then come out, and she would just basically bash and run down Nikki ASH, whatever. She was basically running down, basically saying that she's always talking about she's the opportunity, and that basically are we serious? Like, are we supposed to take you seriously? Take you serious? Are we supposed to take you serious as champion? Because she said that would mean admitting that someone like you is basically the champion of the representative, of WWE in the women's division. And she said they're not gonna have you going out there doing promos and doing talk shows and stuff, because when the people, she said, she named, like, when you on a talk show, she said being on a talk show, the host was going to just turn and start laughing because he's not even going to take you seriously. Rhea Ripley would then come out, basically saying that, she glad that Nikki has this newfound confidence, and that there was she tells her that she wants basically a rematch for the title, and that Charlotte doesn't deserve a rematch, and that she taunts Charlotte about how Charlotte was saying everybody's jealous of her. She's blaming the crowd. She's blaming Nikki and the crowd for the injustice that she suffered. And Rhea says, "Oh yeah, we jealous of you because you held the championship for one day, but yeah, you are 11-time champ, but you didn't really. What have you done lately?" And pretty much and then challenges. They both make their challenge to Nikki for a women's championship match, which brings out Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, who makes a triple threat match for Survivor Series, SummerSlam, for the women's championship. And then Charlotte also makes a challenge to Nikki Ash for later on tonight, which Nikki accepts, which will turn out to be our main event. Will be Charlotte Flair versus Nikki Ash. Then we would get our first match of the night, which is Damian Priest versus Sheamus. A pretty good, straightforward match. I was mostly not excited, but I was happy that Damian Priest was back in the picture and getting resuming his push that he was having during the Thunderdome era. It was a nice title, it was nice near falls, but he would end up hitting the reckoning on Sheamus for the win after a little fiasco with Sheamus' face mask falling off. He would hit. That's when he, eventually would hit the reckoning for the win. But yeah, it was a nice match, you know. And I'm glad Damian Priest is getting the push. He's going. I guess this is supposed to evolve into a future U.S. Championship match against Damian Priest. The second match of the night was an actual title defense match. It was the Raw Tag Team Championship match. It was the Viking Riders versus AJ Styles and Omos. And the match, this was another one of those matches, like just like the first match, I was fairly entertained. And I was at this point I was hoping like, oh man, I hope they didn't throw everything into the first couple matches, because these first couple matches was good. But I was fairly entertained, you know. I really didn't have no problem with it. It was a nice outing for the Viking Riders. They dominated most of the match, you know, try to keep AJ Styles isolated for Omos. And and then, you know, eventually that like we've been seeing, that's what I was about to get into, is that the only thing I criticize about this match is that we got Omos, is all not Omos itself, but every plan of a tag team that goes up against him is that to isolate AJ Styles, try to just win the match by beating AJ Styles and never let Omos win, where Omos always gets tagged in and dominates, and that's pretty much the end of the match. Now that formula, that formula is like, that's gonna get old. You know, that's gonna get old. Who cares? You know, like after a while, I'm like, I've seen it. We ain't seen it so many times now. It's like that's starting to get old. You know, that's starting to get old. That pretty much the end of the matches when Omos get in and do his thing. Now I get it. Omos is still learning. He's still green, but at this point, I believe Omos could do a little bit more than what he's been doing, and we don't need AJ Styles just basically trying to, you know, hold the match on his own, you know. But anyway, AJ Styles and Omos get the win, and they are still your Raw Tag Team Champions. Yeah, that was the second match. Then we moving on to directly to the third match. Now I rewatched this, so I don't know if I missed some backstage promos, because I was about for it was I remember, I know it was one. There was I remember one. I don't know if it was a lot, but I remember it was a backstage promo with Rhea Ripley telling Nikki that she can't wait to she glad that she got this newfound confidence, but you know, she says at SummerSlam she will be the one to, you know, take the title from Nikki. But she said that's SummerSlam for tonight. She hoped Nikki gives everything to Charlotte and beat Charlotte just to shut her up. But I remember that was one of the backstage promos. I just wanted to get that in there before I forget. But yeah, the third match was Drew McIntyre versus Veer with Jinder Mahal at ringside, and they replay how many times Drew McIntyre beat up Sinky. I think it was the other one, and they said he hit Sinky like 34 times with the chair. I was just like, good God. The man was all bruised up and starting to bleed. I said, Jesus Christ. What was? But yeah, it was a good match between Veer and Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre. You know, Drew McIntyre showed his dominance, and Veer, and I don't know much about Veer because I never really watched him wrestle like that when he was in NXT, but he actually held his own. Like, I thought it was just gonna be dominant, and then a little bit of offense from Veer, and then Drew just dominated again, and then Drew wins. You know, but it was actually a pretty decent match. I actually enjoyed this match because Veer so that he could actually hang in there with Drew McIntyre, and then I think Jinder Mahal earlier picked up a chair to try to turn Drew McIntyre with, and then I think he tried to, doing a distraction, he tried to get the chair to Veer, and Veer, when he went to go use it, the referee had already turned around and seen it, but he went to go use it, and I think Drew gave a Claymore to the chair, which gave Veer the win via DQ, and then he Claymore Jinder's lawyer, because I forgot earlier before the match started, Jinder cut a promo about how he have a lawyer that's going to sue Drew McIntyre for what he did to Sinky, but only if Drew doesn't apologize. Drew never apologized. You know, he cut his little promo with the crowd, and the crowd chanted, you know, Drew is going to kill you. The fourth match was a women's tag team match for the tag team championship versus Eva and Doudrop, which was kind of out of place, because why was Eva and Doudrop again the women's championship match, women's tag team championship match against Nikki and Tamina, where the people who should be getting a tag team match is Tegan and Knox. I mean, I said Tegan and Tegan and Knox. Tegan Knox and Santi Blackheart. But I don't know. But it was a this match was a okay match. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it was okay. You know, it was very decent. I think Natalya suffered an injury, so she had to she was out of the match, so Tamina had to pretty much finish the match, and she would Doudrop, I think, hit a big splash on Tamina, but Eva was like, hey, give me the tag, and she just went in and tried to get the pin, but the pin, it didn't happen, and then it was a distraction from Alexa Bliss with Lily, which distracted Eva, and then Eva would get super kicked by Tamina and pin 1, 2, 3, which Tamina and Nat are still the champs, but we don't know for how long, because I don't know if that injury was a suit, or it was legit, or was it a suit. I don't know, but it might look like it was a legit injury. The next match, which was the match was good. It was just the booking I had a problem with, which was Keith Lee versus Karrion Kross. So we got a rematch between the two, months and months later after Keith Lee, lost it to Karrion Kross, lost his NXT Championship to Karrion Kross. But so yeah, we get the match. The match itself was good. And even though I'm okay with Karrion getting the win, it was still the booking that I wouldn't have chose. I wouldn't have chose Karrion Kross to go against Keith Lee, because I don't understand what you're doing with Keith Lee. Keith Lee should be one of the premier. See, this is why you got to bring people back like Goldberg and John Cena, because you won't elevate people to that level. You want people to be elevated. This is the thing I get into later. I have with Nikki Cross too. You keep making these people look like jobbers where they should be main eventers, because people will get behind Keith Lee. And if you keep doing this, Keith Lee is not going to have any momentum, and we're going to get rid of. And it's going to be like nobody going to get hyped for Keith Lee, because you won't let nobody get hyped for him. You won't give the payoff that he deserves. So, let's see. But yeah, that was the Karrion Kross won via submission after he hit the cross jacket on him, and Keith Lee, instead of passing out, he submitted. But they still messing up Karrion Kross's entrance, man. The next match would be another tag team match, which is Mustafa Ali and Monsoon versus Mason T-Bar. Now, I'm not too. Again, Mason T-Bar could be a good tag team if they give them decent build up, a decent part. Like, they should be a tag team that's winning, but they're still jobbers even after Retribution broke up. They're still being jobbers for some reason. I don't know what's going on with that. Why are they jobbing? But it is what it is, right? But yeah, Mason T-Bar would lose to Monsoon and Mustafa Ali. I think Monsoon would get the roll up on. Who would he get it? He got the roll up on Mace. He got the roll up on Mace. I had to check. I forgot that quick. I just looked down and then forgot where I just saw it. But yeah, he got the roll up over Mace, which was gave them the victory. This is like they gonna be a new tag team. They did so. I will give them credit for that, for giving them for them being like a new tag team. The next match slash promo would be Bobby Lashley versus Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin in a 2-on-1 handicap match. But before the match, there was a promo, and I think basically them responding. MVP starts off by basically assaulting the crowd in Kansas because they wouldn't get hyped for Bobby Lashley. And then they address Goldberg coming back. You know, MVP saying, "Yeah, I get it. You know, everybody want to see Goldberg, the dream match of Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley." Even though, and I'm about to say this, even though I got, y'all can see just for a minute, I got the Goldberg T-shirt on. Even though I got that T-shirt on. We adjust my camera again. But even though I got the Goldberg T-shirt on, I still think that it should be Bobby Lashley versus. That probably should have been Keith Lee, or maybe hell, even give it to Karrion Kross. But it should have been It should have been to build somebody up, even if they lose in that fashion. That would have been an acceptable fashion for Keith Lee or Karrion Kross to lose in. But having Karrion Kross beat Keith Lee, having Keith Lee continue to lose, even when he returns, is just something that I don't like. But yeah, Bobby then would say directly that that he's not going to. MVP is passing on to him saying that he's going to accept the challenge, and Bobby said, "I'm not even going to dignify that with an answer," and that he will say this: "This is my ring. I'm the champ. This is my ring. I won't be disrespected." That's when Cedric and both Shelton comes out and basically like claims that they want to be the next people to step up to challenge Bobby Lashley, and they want to have a chance to prove that they could be worthy of a challenger to Bobby Lashley by fighting him. Cedric came out by himself to add. He came out by himself, and then Shelton would interrupt Cedric in the middle of him challenging Bobby Lashley. So they both in the ring, basically, vying for a chance to fight Bobby Lashley. And Cedric, he also said something about, he knows why he got kicked out of the Hurt Business, because they know that he was better than Bobby Lashley, and that's why he wanted a chance to prove it. But and then Sutton says, I'm not here to whine about the Hurt Business. That's in the past, but he wants to give Bobby a true challenge. And Bobby just ends up accepting both of them at the same time in a 2-on-1 handicap match. That match was just as expected, with Bobby Lashley dominating. Cedric and Shelton did get some tag team offense, but in the end, it was still dominance by Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley even taunts Goldberg by hitting the jackhammer on Shelton Benjamin, and then Bobby would, I think he would power slam or power bomb Cedric onto Shelton Benjamin, and would pin them both via a la like Roman did with Edge and Daniel Bryan. He would be, and that was it. That he pinned them both. That was the win. No Goldberg appearance, no nothing. Just like with Roman, where Roman said no to John Cena, was no appearance afterward. But I do know that John Cena had a dark match on SmackDown. They said that was his first match in so long. But we did get the next match after Bobby Lashley would be Matt Riddle versus John Morrison, which was also an okay match. But it wasn't a match I was too keen on seeing, but it was a match that we seen so many times that I really didn't pay attention to it. But I did pay attention to it enough that I know Omos and AJ Styles came out, distracted Riddle by breaking his scooter, and John Morrison would hit the Starship Pain on Matt Riddle for the victory. We did get we got one more match before the main event, which was Reginald versus R2 for the 24/7 championship, and that match was, I don't know what was going on with that match, I didn't really care for it because at this point, the 24/7 championship is not even. We can't even say the 24/7 championship is on the same level as the hardcore belt because the hardcore belt has more. The hardcore championship belt had more prestige than that. Or the cruiserweight, whatever. This is just basically a jobber's belt that gives the jobber something to do. But yeah, Reginald won with like a flying seated splash and beat R-Truth, who awkwardly kept on the mic. He kept the mic on for some reason. I don't know if that was a mistake or error or whatever it was. It was cringeworthy. But yeah, that's that. And then one thing I will say, it hurt me to see Alberto Carrillo back in the jobber section. He's chasing at the 24/7 championship. That kind of hurt because he could be one of the up and coming stars if you book the stories properly. But we would get the main event, which was Nikki Kross versus Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair dominated most of the match as expected, and this is going to go into my problem in a minute. Yeah, she dominated most of the match, but then Nikki would have a little comebacks. She would have, I think she got like 2 near falls. Then Charlotte would take control again, but then Nikki would get the control back for a little bit, but then it would flip right back to Charlotte, and then I think in the end she tried to hit a crossbody onto Charlotte, but Charlotte would reverse it into a pin, and it wasn't even like she called her, did a slam and pinned her, or reversed it into a noticeable pin. She just called it, rolled over top of her and pinned her regularly, hooking the leg like she hit her with a move or something, and it was just 1, 2, 3. Afterwards, Charlotte would cut a promo because one of the interviewer guys, I forgot the new interviewer guy's name, but he came in and congratulated Charlotte. Was like, "No, what do you got to say about your victory over Nikki Kross or Nikki ASH?" I don't know what to call Nikki at this point, but she said, "Why are you thanking me? Like seriously, why is he thanking me? Because this is what is expected. I'm the opportunity. Did you think that you could get in the ring with the opportunity and put on a cape and mask and think you was going to be able to beat me?" And then and then Nikki will fire back saying that even though she lost, it don't shake her newfound confidence, and that she knows she could beat Charlotte, and she challenged Charlotte to a match next week. So pretty much we're gonna get the same main event next week because Charlotte was like, "I could beat you anytime. I could beat you anytime, any day of the week. I could beat you today, next week, and the week after that." She said, "So you're on." And they try to shake hands, but she will end up jumping Nikki and beating her up and making the statement that she's better than Nikki. So, if I were to give this show anything, I was going to give it. I did have the predetermined. I was going to give it 8 big ups, but I'm not going to give it 8 big ups. I'm going to give it a 7. I was going to give it a 7.5, but then no, I said I'm going to give it a 7 because it was a good show, but it was just some things I just could not, some things that just didn't stick with me. Like if you're going to give Nikki the championship, she shouldn't be losing a match the next week. Maybe maybe next week she should lose against Charlotte, but she shouldn't have lost this week. Keith Lee shouldn't have lost. It shouldn't be basically a jobber at this point. But I'm glad that Karrion Kross is being treated fairly. Yeah, some of the matches was okay and decent, but really just didn't have no oomph behind it, no flavor. But overall, a decent show. I want to say it was a bad watch. It was okay. It was a good watch. But if you enjoyed this review, let me know in the comments what you thought about the show. And if you enjoyed this review, hit this button right there in the upper right corner. Take it to all of my WWE reviews. If you enjoyed the video so much you want to support the channel, then hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and also hit any one of these videos for more of my amazing content, because I am out, and I will see you either tomorrow or Friday with some more video games gameplay.